The email arrived at 6:47 a.m. on a Wednesday from Nicole Chun, VP of Operations, Chun Manufacturing 2. Emma Chun. Subject: board meeting. Your attendance required, Emma. Dad's having a board meeting Friday at 10 a.m. He wants you to take notes. Please arrive 15 minutes early to set up the conference room and prepare coffee. Board members, like it strong. Also, dress professionally. These are important investors. First impressions matter. Nicole, I stared at my laptop screen, sitting in my downtown apartment with a view of the harbor. Coffee steamed in my favorite mug, the one that said "World's Okayest Employee," a gag gift from my assistant. Though Nicole wouldn't see the irony, I typed back, "I'll be there." What I didn't say, I wouldn't be taking notes. I opened another folder on my desktop. Inside were documents I'd been reviewing for 3 months, ever since Dad mentioned he was exploring options for the company. Chun Manufacturing Shareholder Agreement. David Chun, founder, CEO, 49% ownership, Emma Chun. 51% ownership, Nicole Chun. 0% ownership. The shares had been transferred to me 8 years ago when I turned 24, part of Dad's estate planning. He'd even advised to move assets out of his name for tax purposes and wanted to keep the company in family control. Nicole was 26 then, fresh out of business school and convinced she'd be running the company within 5 years. Dad's lawyer suggested splitting ownership between both daughters. Dad chose me instead. Emma's more level-headed, he'd said. Nicole's brilliant, but she's impulsive. I need someone who will protect the company if anything happens to me. Nicole. I'd signed the papers. Promised to be a silent partner, let Dad run everything while I worked in the background, learning the business from the ground up. For 8 years, I'd kept that promise. Nicole never knew. Dad never told her. On paper, she was VP of Operations with a generous salary and bonus structure. In reality, she had no ownership stake and no voting power. I'd watched her spend those 8 years treating me like I was invisible, like I was just the quiet daughter who helped out with administrative work. She'd told people at industry conferences that she was being groomed to take over the family business. She'd told our cousin last Christmas that I was basically Dad's secretary. And now, apparently, Dad was considering selling the company. Without asking the person who owned 51% of it, I opened my calendar and marked Friday at 10 a.m. Board meeting? Showtime. Friday morning, I arrived at Chun Manufacturing at 9:30 a.m. Dad had built this company from nothing 35 years ago. Current valuation, $38 million. I parked in the visitor lot, not the executive parking where my reserved spot sat empty. The spot Nicole had suggested HR remove since Emma doesn't really need it. Inside, I wore a simple black dress and blazer. Professional but not flashy. My leather portfolio under my arm contained my laptop and a single manila folder. Nicole was in the conference room when I arrived, already setting up. "Oh, good. You're early." She didn't look up from her phone. Coffees in the break room. Set up for 8 people. Mr. Zhao likes 2 sugars. Ms. Martinez takes hers black. And make sure there are those biscotti Dad likes. Okay. And Emma. She finally looked at me. Try not to talk during the meeting. These people are serious investors. They're not used to ... administrative staff contributing. I understand. I walked to the break room, made the coffee, arranged the biscotti on a plate, brought everything back to the conference room on a tray. Nicole was reviewing documents with our father's assistant, Margaret. The Silver Point Group is offering $38.5 million for full acquisition. Dad's leaning toward accepting. That's a good offer. Margaret sighed. It's an excellent offer. We'd all walk away with significant compensation packages. Dad could finally retire. I set down the coffee tray. Nicole glanced at me. Thank you, Emma. You can sit in the back and take notes on your laptop. Try to be quiet, the keyboard clicking can be distracting. Of course. I sat in a chair against the wall, opened my laptop, and pulled up a blank document. Looked every bit the part of dutiful note-taker. At 9:55 a.m., the board members started arriving. James Jowerly, investor, 8% non-voting shares. Patricia Martinez, industry advisor, no ownership, Robert Chun, dad's brother, 5% non-voting shares, and 3 representatives from Silver Point Group. Marcus Webb, their CEO, Sandra Kim, their CFO, and their corporate attorney, whose name I didn't catch. Dad arrived last, looking tired but excited. At 67, he'd been talking about retirement for 2 years. "Everyone, please sit. Thank you for coming." He took his seat at the head of the table. "I think we all know why we're here. Silver Point has made a generous offer to acquire Chun Manufacturing. I've asked you all here to discuss the terms and vote on whether to accept." Marcus Webb smiled the smile of someone who's already won. "Mr. Chun, we're thrilled about this opportunity. Chun Manufacturing has an excellent reputation, strong financials, and significant growth potential. Our offer of $38.5 million represents a 15% premium over current market valuation." "It's generous," Dad agreed. "My financial advisor says I'd be a fool not to take it." Nicole leaned forward. "I think we'd all benefit from this acquisition. Silver Point has the resources to scale the business beyond what we can do as a family company. And the current management team?" Patricia Martinez asked. "What happens to them?" Sandra Kim answered. "We'd retain key personnel. Mr. Chun would transition to an advisory role. Nicole would continue as VP of Operations for at least 2 years with a retention package." Nicole's smile was triumphant. She'd negotiated her own deal before the board even voted. "What about non-management family?" Robert asked, glancing at me. Marcus Webb followed his gaze. "Administrative staff would be evaluated case. We typically bring in our own support team." Translation: I'd be let go. Nicole didn't even look at me. "I think Emma would understand. She's always been supportive of what's best for the company." He kept typing, "Ankite and BC." "Well," Dad said, "I think we should vote. All in favor of accepting Silver Point's acquisition offer." The conference room door opened. Everyone turned. Daniel Park walked in, carrying a leather briefcase. My attorney, I'd asked him to arrive at 10:15 a.m., exactly late enough that the offer would be on the table, early enough to stop the vote. "I apologize for the interruption," Daniel said smoothly, "but I represent a significant shareholder who needs to be part of this discussion." Dad frowned. "Daniel, what are you doing here?" "I'm here on behalf of the majority shareholder of Chun Manufacturing." He set his briefcase on the table. "She has concerns about this proposed sale." Nicole laughed. "Majority shareholder, Dad owns the company." "Actually," Daniel said, "David Chun owns 49%. The majority shareholder 51% is someone else." The room went silent. Marcus Webb's smile faded. "We did full due diligence. The ownership structure was disclosed as David Chun owning controlling interest." "That information was outdated," Daniel said. "The current ownership structure has been in place for 8 years, but was never updated in the marketing materials. An oversight." Dad's face had gone pale. He knew exactly what was happening. Nicole stood up. "This is ridiculous. Who owns 51%? Is this some kind of investor we don't know about?" "Not an investor," Daniel said. "A family member." He turned and looked directly at me. "Emma Chun owns 51% of Chun Manufacturing. She is the majority shareholder, and she has not consented to this sale." Nicole's mouth fell open. That's impossible. Emma's just sees administrative staff. She doesn't. She owns the controlling interest," Daniel repeated. "Has since March 2016, when David Chun transferred shares to her as part of his estate planning. I have the documents here if you'd like to review them." Marcus Webb stood abruptly. "This is unacceptable. We conducted months of due diligence, and your team should have checked the actual shareholder registry, not relied on outdated marketing materials." Daniel's voice was calm, professional. "Devastating. Any sale of this company requires approval from the majority shareholder. Emma has reviewed your offer and declines." "Emma," Nicole's voice cracked. "YOU, you're the majority shareholder." I closed my laptop, stood up, walked to the conference table. "Yes." "Since when?" 8 years. And you never, Dad? Did you know about this? Dad wouldn't meet her eyes. I transferred the shares to Emma because I trusted her judgment. Over me, Nicole's face was flushed. I'm the VP of operations. I'm the one who's been running this company with you. I've given up everything for this business. And you gave control to her? Nicole. She takes notes. She makes coffee. She's a secretary. She's the owner, Daniel said quietly. I pulled the manila folder from my portfolio, opened it on the table. These are the financial projections I prepared last month, I said. My voice was steady, calm. Based on our current growth trajectory and the 3 major contracts I helped negotiate in Q3, Chun Manufacturing should be valued at $52 million within 18 months. Marcus Webb grabbed the documents, scanned them. His jaw tightened. I continued, Silver Point's offer of $38.5 million is 15% above current valuation, but 26% below our projected value. It's a good offer for a company that's stagnant, but we're not stagnant. You did these projections. Patricia Martinez looked genuinely surprised. Yes. I also renegotiated our supplier contracts in April, saving us $340,000 annually. I restructured our employee benefits package to reduce turnover. It's down 34% this year. And I've been the one handling the Northrop Grumman account for the past 14 months. That's our largest client. $4.2 million in annual revenue. Nicole sat down heavily. You told me you were doing data entry for that account. I was entering the contract negotiations I was conducting. Dad, Nicole turned to our father. You knew about all of this? Dad finally met her eyes. Emma has been learning the business since she was 22. She started in shipping, moved to production, learned accounting, then sales. She's worked every department. She's been preparing to run this company since before you graduated business school. And you never told me. You never asked about her, Dad said quietly. You assumed she was your assistant. You've been calling her just admin staff for 8 years. She's actually been learning how to protect this company. Sandra Kim, Silver Point's CFO, was reading my projections. These numbers, ... If they're accurate, your company is significantly undervalued in our offer. They're accurate, I said. You can verify with our accounting firm. Marcus Webb closed his folder. This has been a waste of everyone's time. Mr. Chun, when you're ready to actually sell, when you have authority to sell, contact us. He'll never have authority, Daniel said. Emma owns 51%. Any sale requires her approval. The Silver Point team gathered their things and left. The door closed with a decisive click. The room was silent except for the hum of the air conditioning. Nicole was the first to speak. 8 years. You've let me believe I was being groomed to run this company, that I was Dad's successor. And the whole time, you owned it. Yes. Why didn't you tell me? Would you have treated me differently if you'd known? She opened her mouth, closed it. No answer came. Robert, my uncle, laughed suddenly. David, you magnificent bastard. You let Nicole run around like she owned the place while Emma actually did. Robert, that's not helpful, Dad said. It's a little helpful, Patricia Martinez said. Nicole, honey, you've been pretty dismissive of your sister for years. We've all seen it. That's because she never... Nicole stopped. She never acted like she was important. Because I was learning, I said, and watching. And watching. If I'd come in acting like the owner, you would have fought me at every turn. You would have seen me as a threat. This way, I learned the business without interference. You manipulated me. No, I gave you enough rope to show who you really were. Nicole stood up, trembling. I've dedicated 8 years to this company. And you've been well compensated, I said. You make $180,000 a year plus bonuses. You have excellent benefits. You've learned valuable skills, but you don't own this company. Nicole, you never did. So what now? You're just going to push me out. You're good at your job. I want you to stay. But things are going to change. Change how? I looked at my father. Dad, you've been talking about retirement. I think you should. You've earned it. His eyes widened. Emma Dal take over as CEO. Yal transition to chairman of the board. Nicole will continue as VP of operations, but you report to me. We'll restructure management to support the growth I outlined in those projections. No? You're taking over? Nicole's voice was shrill. I own 51%. It's time. I won't work for you. That's your choice. But if you leave with nothing but your salary and 401k. No ownership stake, no profit sharing, just a job you're walking away from. Nicole looked at Dad. Are you going to let her do this? Dad was quiet for a long moment. Then, Emma's right. She owns the company. I gave her controlling interest because I trusted her judgment. I'm not going to override that trust now, so you choose her over me. I'm not choosing anyone over anyone. I'm honoring the decision I made 8 years ago. Nicole grabbed her bag. I need time to think. Take the time you need, I said. But I need your answer by Monday. If you're staying, we have a lot of work to do. She left without another word. After everyone else left, it was just me and Dad in the conference room. He sat at the head of the table, looking older than I'd seen him look in years. I didn't know you were going to do this, he said finally. I didn't know you were planning to sell without asking me. I thought you'd be okay with it. You never said you wanted to run the company. I've been preparing to run it for a decade, Dad. What did you think I was doing? Learning the business? Yes. But taking over? Emma, you're 32. How old were you when you started this company? 29. But that was different. How? He didn't answer. I sat down next to him. Did you really think I was just floating through life? That I was content to be Nicole's assistant forever? No. I knew you were capable. Hoost. I didn't think you wanted the responsibility. Because I didn't demand it like Nicole did. Because I didn't make noise. You're not like your sister. You've never been competitive or aggressive. I've been strategic, I said. There's a difference. Nicole fights for everything. I plan for everything. You taught me that, Dad. You said the best deals are the ones where the other party doesn't know you've already won. He smiled despite himself. I did say that. You also said that the person who stays calm when everyone else is panicking is the person who should be in charge. You've been calm for 8 years. Because I knew my time would come. Dad reached over and squeezed my hand. I'm proud of you. Even if I'm a little terrified of you right now, you don't need to be terrified. I'm not pushing you out. I need your experience, your relationships, your wisdom. I'm just ready to lead. What about Nicole? What about her? She's going to be devastated, angry. She might quit. I hope she doesn't. She's good at operations, but if she can't respect me as CEO, then it won't work. She's your sister. I know, but this is business, Dad. You taught me that too. He nodded slowly. What are your first moves? If you're taking over, decline the Silver Point offer officially. Restructure management. I want to promote Jin from production to VP of manufacturing. Bring in a real CFO instead of using that contractor. Pursue the 3 major contracts I outlined. And ... I paused. I want to expand into medical devices. Not just components, full devices. That's a huge capital investment. I know, that's why I've been working with 3 different investment banks on financing options. I have term sheets ready when you are. Dad stared at me. You've been planning this for how long? 3 years, since you first mentioned retirement, and you never said anything. I was waiting for the right moment. When you tried to sell without asking me, I knew the moment had come. He laughed, tired, but genuine. Your mother would have loved to see this. She always said you were the smart one. Mom said Nicole was the smart one. Your mother said Nicole was the clever one. There's a difference. Clever people find shortcuts. Smart people build foundations. Nicole didn't call all weekend. On Saturday, I went to the office. Alone. Walked through the production floor, the shipping department, the quality control lab, places I'd worked when Nicole thought I was trying to find my place. I'd found my place 8 years ago. I'd just been waiting to claim it. On Sunday, my phone rang. "Nicole, I'm not quitting," she said without preamble. "Okay. But I have conditions." "I'm listening." "I want a seat on the board. I want profit sharing, and I want you to acknowledge publicly that I've been instrumental in this company's success." "No, you can have a board seat as an advisory member." "None, you'll get profit sharing starting next quarter, tied to performance benchmarks. And I'll acknowledge your contributions because they are real. Nicole, you've done good work, but I won't pretend you built this company alone." Silence. "Then why didn't you tell me about the ownership, about everything, about learning the business, about your plans, about being you?" I sat down on my couch, looking out at the city. "Because you made it clear from the beginning that you saw me as less than you, the quiet sister. The one without ambition. If I'd told you I was learning to run the company, you would have sabotaged me. Not consciously, maybe, but you would have. That's not fair." "It's true though." More silence. "I called you a secretary," Nicole said quietly, "in front of those investors. I was so confident that I was the important one. And you just let me ID. That must have felt awful." "It did. I'm sorry." I closed my eyes. "Thank you." "I'm not going to be good at this," Nicole said. "Reporting to you, respecting your authority. I've spent 8 years thinking I was going to run this company." "I know. But I'll try." "Because you're right. I don't want to walk away from this. I've put too much of my life into it. That's all I ask. That you try." "Okay." She took a breath. "Boss?" I smiled. "See you Monday, Nicole." Monday morning, 8 a.m. I walked into Chun Manufacturing and parked in my reserved spot. The one with E. Chun, CEO, on the sign. HR had installed it over the weekend. Inside, Margaret was waiting at reception. "Good morning, Ms. Chun. Your office is ready. I've scheduled your first executive team meeting for 9 a.m. "Thank you, Margaret." "And Ms. Chun." "Congratulations, it's about time." I stopped. "You knew?" She smiled. "I've been your father's assistant for 15 years. I know everything." My office was on the 3rd floor, the corner office that had been Dad's. He'd moved to a smaller office down the hall, the one with the label chairman on the door. Inside, my desk was clear, except for a single frame, a photo of me and Dad from 10 years ago, standing in front of the building. On the back, in his handwriting, "To Emmett, the future of everything I've built, make it better than I did." "Dad," I sat down in the chair. It felt right. At 8:45, Nicole knocked on my door. "Got a minute?" "Come in." She sat across from me. No longer confident and dismissive, just tired. "I talked to Dad yesterday. He told me why he chose you." "What did he say?" "He said I was always fighting to prove myself, that I needed everyone to see me as important. But you, ... She swallowed hard. "You just did the work. You didn't need the title or the recognition. You just needed to know the company would be okay." "That's true. I've been thinking about that, about how different we are." She looked down at her hands. "I don't know if I can be like you. Patient, strategic, quiet. I don't need you to be like me, Nicole. I need you to be good at operations. You are good at it. You're organized, decisive, and people respect you on the floor. That's valuable. But you're the boss." "Yes, and I have to accept that." "Yes." She nodded slowly. "Okay. I'll do my best. That's all I ask." At 9 a.m., the executive team gathered in the conference room. Dad, Nicole, Jin, from production, our controller Maria, and our head of sales Tom. I stood at the head of the table, the same table where, for days ago, I'd been taking notes in the back of the room. Good morning, everyone. As you all know by now, there have been changes. I'm taking over as CEO effective today. My father is transitioning to chairman. I want to be clear about a few things. I looked around the table. First, nothing about this company's values changes. We still prioritize quality, employee welfare, and innovation. Second, we're not selling to Silver Point or anyone else. We're staying independent and we're growing. Third, there will be management changes, promotions, and restructuring over the next month. I'll meet with each of you individually to discuss your roles. Jin raised his hand. Ma'am, I heard you're expanding into medical devices. Is that true? Yes. We're pursuing full device manufacturing, not just components. It's a $50 million investment over 2 years. But the margins are significantly higher. Jin, that's actually part of why I wanted you in this meeting. I'm promoting you to VP of Manufacturing. You'll oversee both production lines, components, and devices. His face lit up. Really? Really? Maria, I need you to work with me on securing financing. Tom, I need you to start building relationships with medical device distributors. Nicole, operations is going to get more complex. I need you to prepare for scaling up. Nicole met my eyes. I can do that. I know you can. Dad smiled from his seat. Not sad. Proud. One more thing, I said. I know some of you are wondering why this is happening now. Why I kept my ownership quiet for so long. The answer is simple. I needed to learn this business from the ground up. I needed to understand every role, every challenge, every opportunity. You can't lead what you don't understand. And now you understand, Tom said. Now I understand. The Forbes photographer adjusts the lighting one more time. Okay, Ms. Chun. One more shot in front of the production line. I stand on the factory floor, surrounded by the machinery, the workers, the hum of manufacturing, the place where I started 10 years ago, packing boxers and shipping. The magazine feature is titled, The Quiet CEO, How Emma Chun Turned a Family Business into a $60 million Medical Device Leader. Nicole reads it on her phone while we eat lunch in my office. They quoted me. She says, listen to this. Nicole Chun, VP of Operations and Emma's sister, admits she initially underestimated the new CEO. Now she says she understands why her father chose Emma to lead. She's not just smart. She's strategic, and she's the best boss I've ever had. Did you actually say that? I did. She looks up. Because it's true. These past 6 months, I've learned more about leadership from watching you than I did in 4 years of business school. Thank you. The Northrop contract expanded. The medical device line launched 2 months ahead of schedule. We're hiring 50 new employees next quarter. You were right about everything. Not everything. I was wrong about one thing. What? I thought you wouldn't be able to handle reporting to me. But you've been great. Better than I expected. Nicole's eyes get shiny. That means a lot. It's true. My phone buzzes. Dad. Saw the Forbes piece. Your mother would burst with pride. I know I am. Love you, kiddo. Me. Love you too. Dad. Nicole stands to leave, then turns back. I'm sorry I called you a secretary. I'm sorry for all of it. I know. We're good. After she leaves, I stand at my window, looking out over the facility. 3 buildings now. 200 employees, $60 million in annual revenue, and me, the woman they called just admin staff, running all of it. My phone buzzes again. Marcus Webb from Silver Point Group. Marcus, Ms. Chun, I'd like to discuss a partnership opportunity, not an acquisition, a strategic investment. Your growth has been remarkable. Let's talk. I smile and type back. Me. Send me a proposal. My assistant will schedule a meeting. I hit send, then forward the message to Margaret with a note. Schedule this for when I'm ready. No rush. Because that's the thing about being the majority shareholder. You don't have to rush anymore. You don't have to prove anything. You just have to lead. And I'm just getting started.